everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Crystalis. In the last part we got here to Swan and got a mission from Stom to find Kensu, and now we're gonna go look for him. You weren't here before. Gee, I wonder who he could be. Yeah, paralyze him, he'll reveal himself as Kensu, and now you have to search for him again. He teleports around the town twice, but his location is always set, so don't worry about that. And this would be his second location. Tyrion's actually supposed to go and find the pendant that we found about 2 parts ago, so if you didn't do that, make sure you do that. And by doing that, we learned that he got that pendant from Messina. I believe that's a reference to Psycho Soldier, but I wouldn't know because I haven't played it yet. But for doing that, we get the Magic of Change, which allows us to change into one of 4 different appearances that NPCs carry. A woman, Stom, Akahana, and a Dragonian Soldier. And because of that, we can actually do something back here in the Amazons right now, or Amazonas. However you pronounce that. And now we can change it to a woman, and now all the citizens around here will talk to us normally, because if you recall correctly, when we came here originally, they shoot us away because we were male, but now that we're a woman, they will talk to us normally. And we learn, and if you talk to some of the NPCs around, you'll find out that Arillis here is looking for the Carissa plant, and you can give it to her to get the Bow of Moon. Now the Bow of Moon, well first off, to get out of change, just press A. The Bow of the Moon is a required store item. You need that in order to progress. However, they never direct you here to get it, so make sure you do that. And now we're going to sleep, because change costs 20 MP if I recall correctly, and that's pretty expensive. But we're going to need it immediately. So let's change into a soldier. I don't recall if the Akahana transformation is actually ever used. Anyway, you need the Dragonian transformation to get past these guards. Really, though, you only need to talk to them as the soldiers to open the gate. After that, you can go ahead and murder them. And welcome to the next section of the field, which has a really weird, swampy, summery color to it. Most of the enemies around here are weak to water, so get that out. And a lot of them, namely these green Dragonian soldiers, have projectile attacks, so use the shield ring. And we got our next little town here. Welcome to Goa. You're not required to come here in any way yet, I'm just doing it for a teleport. And to show off this line. The Emperor is the worst, and won't forgive those who speak ill of him. So you're calling your Emperor a tolerable person, but you're also not forgiving anyone who speaks ill of him like yourself. So you love him, but you hate him. Eh? Anyway, Kensu's here to tell us that our next location is to the southwest. Yeah. Also, if I recall correctly, you can talk to people around here, and they'll reveal that Akahana is actually from this town. If you transform into a soldier, the soldiers in front of the buildings will just say, get back to your post, you can't get past them at this point in the game. But anyway, now we're going to head for Mt.Hydra, which is where the next area that we need to go to is. I almost said Hyudora there, but that's Final Fantasy V. I hated that dungeon my first playthrough. And my second, and my third. Anyway, Mt.Hydra here is actually a volcano, though you wouldn't be able to guess just by looking at it until you see the lava later on. But we need to head west at this fork for now, and we froze lava. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. But we'll be heading north of that previous fork slightly later. Anyway, we need to use change here, because there's another gate ahead that we won't be able to get past unless we transform into Stom here. Been a while since we saw Stom, eh? So now they'll let us pass. I'm not sure why they wouldn't let us pass normally, but maybe they're idiots. Now I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite towns in the game. Why? Pretty much, this is where all the wise men are trained and people who rebel against the Empire are. Essentially, it's a village for the exiled, and for those preparing for war against the Empire. And this is where the plot starts to thicken slightly, because you can tell just by the music that stuff's gonna go down here. This is actually one of my favorite tracks in the game, too. And all 4 of the wise men, Kensu aside, are actually here. And so is Zebu, so let's go see that old man. Hey, dude. Anyway, he's telling us now that the 4th sword, the Sword of Thunder, why there's no Sword of Earth, I'm not sure, is in Mt.Hydra, so we're actually gonna go and get that. So he gave us the key of Styx to access the cave that it is in. Now, before we leave, there's one thing I want to do here in the armor shop, and that is buy the ceramic suit, which is the next armor piece. Let's see. 25 physical defense. 35 physical defense. That's good. I'm cutting back to the fork just to save some time, but I will say I'll be selling any unnecessary equipment in between parts, because I'm going to do some farming in between parts, so yeah. In this area, I recommend using Paralysis and the Shield Ring, because these green guys here deal a lot of damage, but the Paralysis spell is extremely effective against them. And they're also the enemies that give the most gold and experience points at this point. I'm going to be using these guys for grinding in between parts. I should note, pretty much every enemy in this area will poison you in some way or another, so watch out for that. And the mace, while it can damage you normally, they will, well, just by swimming around, they can throw it directly at you like the mace enemies from Zelda games, so be careful about that. And this is me getting the paralysis spell because I forgot to have it equipped at this point. And got a Fruit of Lime. I'm not sure why they give us one of these in here, but okay. It's also in this area I recommend you expend any Fruit of Powers you have, because back in Shiren, which is the name of the village we were in a moment ago, there is a shop you can buy magic rings for 800 gold. However, that's not going to be a permanent price, so I recommend buying as many as you can while you can. These lava enemies here can only be hit when they're in their weird little humanoid form, which looks like some sort of angry cat. When they're their little gel form, you can't do anything against them. I do believe every enemy in this area is weak against the water sword, including those weird cockatrices. I hate cockatrices! Okay. Though I don't mind them that much in Final Fantasy games, at least not 7. Or the Cluckatrice in 6. Now, this little area I'm in right now is entirely optional. The way the plot progression was to the west at a couple forks back, but there's a couple items in this side cave I want to get. And, well, I want to be a higher level, because I do believe the next boss requires you to be level 13 to damage it, so I'm going to be doing some farming, obviously. If you go to the right back in that previous floor I was just on, you will loop around, so it's pretty much just head up here for another item. I actually had to think about what I was going to say there for a second, because I forgot what was up here. You'd think I should look at my notes, but nah. And for coming all this way around here, we got another magic ring. I recommend by the end of this part of the plot having at least 5 magic rings, including ones you buy at the Shiren shop, so yeah. Though having more than that's entirely okay. I just like having 5 because I'm prepared for it. These eyeball enemies, I'm not sure what the projectile does because I've never been hit by it. But they cannot be hit by the water sword, I believe. You need the fire sword in order to damage them. And scorpion enemies in the next area. Anyway, and here's the last item for this. Oh, first off, level up, yay. And here's the last item for this part of the cave, which is a plant. And with that, I'm actually going to be exiting this cave because there's nothing left to do in here. So we're back in the outside section that I was in a couple minutes ago. And now we're going to head west so we can actually get to the cave of Styx. Why there's a random reference to Greek mythology in here, I don't know. Oh, yeah, paralyze the gate, that'll totally work. I'm not sure why, but you can really walk past the hit zones for the entrances really easily in this game. Anyway, these little footballs here can only be deflected with the barrier spell. The barrier spell protects you from any damage as long as you hold down the A button. However, whenever you're holding the A button, it's also sucking away MP. What I recommend doing is, if you're in a boss fight or have to get past those little footballs, only holding the A button when you're about to get hit by them. Hi, mage. Bye, mage. The mages are actually really good for grinding as well due to their high experience cap. I think they give 600 experience points, rather. And considering we're now at 20,000 experience points for our next level, that's quite a bit. Though, mind you, that's a good amount for this point in the game, because, as I've mentioned a couple times in the past, max level is 16. Anyway, get the Fire Sword and the Bracelet out, because there's a Mimic right here, and more money is good. I actually think that's the last money I get in the part. Yeah, it is, actually. No, it's not. Never mind. Now, I don't even want to know what's in the canals here. I'm gonna take a guess acid because of all the melted skeletons in here. That really makes me think of Mortal Kombat 2 was the acid pit in, or was that 3? It's been a while. But luckily you can't get knocked into it or take damage, though at the same time it kind of reminds me of the sewer section in the first Pokemon Ranger. Still waiting for a 4th game of that, by the way, Nintendo. Because I love Pokemon Ranger for some reason. Especially Shadows of Almia, that's probably my favorite one. Oh, dude, get out of the stairwell! Cheap! Cheap! And I couldn't even collect his money. Ugh. I recommend getting the Sword of Fire up here, because pretty much all the enemies on this floor are weak to it. You also want to be careful because there can be so many enemies on screen, you start to get mass slowdown. Luckily, the level 3 fire is awesome. I love you, Fire Sword. I love you. But you burned me oh so much. Getting stabbed multiple times in the eye. That's not a fun image. Anyway, we got spikes here, so we want to jump over these. And head to the east. And over here, we find the Sword of Thunder. That was really easy. And some guy named Azteca is actually going to teleport us back to the town, so we actually just got a really quick teleport back. Thanks for that. And now they're pretty much explaining the link between us and Messiah. We were both cryo-frozen about 100 years ago because we had powers that could stop at any potential end of the world. And Dragon apparently knows the 4... I almost said horsemen, wise men, and is trying to take stuff down, and it's all bad. This game's plot is pretty inconsequential, all things considered, though I'll give it this, it's better than the original 3 Final Fantasies. But, either way, stuff's about to get real. We're actually getting fairly close to the end of the game. I'd say this will probably end around part 10. Now, I'm actually about to buy the Battle Shield, which is the next shield upgrade for me. But you might notice I only have 213 gold, which isn't enough to buy the magic rings here in the item shop. So what I'm actually going to do in between parts, as I've mentioned before, is grind the green guys in that cave back there for money and experience points. Gonna try and get myself to level 13. And get enough to get quite a few magic rings. And then in part 8, I'm actually going to meet you back in Swan, because that's the next area I want to be in. I'm also going to sell my old equipment. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 8, I will have done that, and I will meet you in Swan as I just mentioned. See you guys then.